The reason why the Democratic Party can never really connect with its base is because the Democratic Party is the continuance of Confederate logic through liberal governance. Okay, so during the Reconstruction period, black people weren't just free, they got political power. We talked about this in previous videos, like establishing school systems, participating in government, establishing laws, etc. That scared the fuck out of Confederates and white America at that point, right? So they had to do something about that. They decided to criminalize us since we were free and they couldn't legally enslave us straight up just yet. And this is how the Dixiecrats come into play. Dixiecrats were like, cool, this is where Jim Crow and shit comes in, okay? Now we got vagrancy laws, chain gangs, convict leasing, etc. So now, it changed uniforms, right? And we still have slavery. A rose by any other name is still a rose. And you're like, well, what about the civil rights movement? And I'm like, okay, right, but it gave us formal equality, but it did not give us material power, right? So there was no economic justice. There were no reparations for everything that we had been through. Number fucking one. There was no redistribution and there was no dismantling of the systems that had created or profited from slavery. None. Park there. Anyway, so the civil rights movement is complete, and now the Dixiecrats, they have a problem. They can't be openly racist anymore. I mean, we definitely still see it, but we don't see it in the Jim Crow and pre-Jim Crow ways, right? They have a problem. And so you know what they do? They rebrand. They integrate into the Democratic Party fully. Those white hoods come off, they put on suits, and now they stop burning crosses. The police, all of that turns into policy. It is now Democratic Party time. We're going to put on policy. That policy looked like black codes, vagrancy laws, just things that criminalized everyday black life, more policing, less protection, more criminalization, more arrests. Anyway, this is how Dixiecrats became Democrats. Literally just snowball after that. Reagan comes in, says the government is the problem, but then racism is like the catalyst for allowing police and like the war on drugs and prisons and shit getting unlimited funding. Right? The best part of the plan is how they created the problem and the solution to their own problem, right? So the government flooded black communities with crack cocaine. Black people became addicted to crack cocaine. And then the police department got the unlimited funding to go in and criminalize those who were addicted to crack cocaine because it wasn't a health epidemic when it was black people. And then you had the welfare system. So then you created a dependency from the women trying to take care of the children after the men had been addicted to drugs and highly criminalized and targeted by the police system, which created mass incarceration. Anyways, communities get flooded. Incarceration explodes. Like I said, we have mass incarceration. Bush comes in. The Bush regime happens. Okay, the same thing happens under a different tone. I'm talking about Bushes. These are 4-year, 12-year stints per Bush. All right, and we had multiples. So by the time we get to the Clintons, we got them playing the tough on crime, harsh sentencing, extra funding for the police state type of thing. Hillary Clinton is calling black kids super predators.
They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. And the president has asked the FBI to launch a very concerted effort against gangs everywhere.
Building contracts with the prison industrial complex saying that if we aren't keeping prison beds full by a certain percentage that the state actually needs to pay them money. I mean, it's a whole shit show at this point, right? Then came Kamala Harris, who was literally fucking us up as a prosecutor in Alameda County during her entire career. Anyway, y'all can cap her if you want to. What I'm trying to say, the damage from her prosecutorial record is fucking structural, okay? Like, people have been incarcerated, records have been broken, families have been permanently torn apart. And injustices have been committed against black bodies and black communities by her, which make them harder to fight against. Literally, that is the other side of representation. These black faces in high places will not save us. Anyway, man, those consequences, they compound, they don't reset. Her little checklist of things that she tried to do later don't undo the things that she's done or any of the damages that those things have done. So it's just like hella day late, dollar short. Then back to Biden, he was hella problematic during his career. He didn't just say dumb things about busing children. The man actively worked with segregationists to form legislation that stopped black children from accessing a free, fair, appropriate public education. Okay. Like, he stopped the only effective method we had to integrate schools so black children could be offered the same quality level of education that white children were being offered, i.e., he was not trying to realize Martin Luther King's dream. You feel me? So then after he did that, he doubled down and he authored qualified immunity for police officers. And then he cheerleaded that. And then after he successfully did that, he went on to continue to fund that and continue to defend it and continue to attack black communities and black bodies and call that a democratic success. After Obama slid in with Bush international policies and a whole bunch of memes with Biden, Biden was all of a sudden the answer to MAGA neo-Confederate conservatism with Kamala as the Democrat candidates that they were going to shove down our throats when Hillary didn't work. And I'm just like, wow, that shit was mind-blowing to me as somebody who's been alive and watching politics and paying attention since before 2001. This has always been conservative neo-Confederates versus liberal neo-Confederates managing true Americans who are living under American ideals, both of them pushing for racist fueled capitalism on the backs of black people. The Democrats are Confederates.